Hey guys,
I'm Bob.
I'm Barb. Together we make up
HetteshWorld.
This video is current.
We are currently in a beautiful state park up in Michigan.
So why is the video current, Bob?
Because we want to get this information out to everybody, all of our subscribers, and anybody else that wants to listen.
So whenever it's important, we will bump a video up ahead of time in our schedule. This video today is about Thousand Trails, and we are Thousand Trails members.
Yep, we've been since last September.
I mean, we joined in June, but we didn't get officiated and signed in because of COVID and everything till probably September, yeah. Well, we've been wanting to do a video about Thousand Trails and kind of explain our benefits and go into detail, and we may end up doing a second video down the road.
Yep.
But the reason for this video today is that they called.
We got a phone call.
We got a phone call from Thousand Trails.
Yep.
So stay tuned and we will share it with you. We're Bob and Barb. We've lived by the rules all of our lives, but in 2020, we threw that rule book out the window. We sold our home and moved full-time into an RV with our cat Amelia, and from now on, we will be living life our way. Don't you want to come travel in our world? So, Bob, why did Thousand Trails want to talk to just little old you and me?
Well, we got a phone call, random phone call for us to call, and they wanted to tell us about their 50-year anniversary since TT's been in business. So they wanted to give us an update. They wanted us to go over our actual plan to make sure we're taking full advantage of our plan, our benefits that we have, which we thought was awesome. You know, we had never really touched base with them except for through the registration department with registering for days when we had issues, which everything's been great on that.
Yeah, I mean, they did want to tell us what's new with Thousand Trails, what's happening, and the biggest thing is they wanted our feedback, what was good and what was bad. We spent 2 hours prepping for this meeting because we've been doing this since September and we've been in the parks and we've seen it.
Yeah, the guy that called us, he told us to, take some time and write down some pros and cons. So we spent a couple hours writing down some pros and cons, thinking that, hey, maybe somebody's going to listen, if we talk about the roads or the parks or
we are smarter than we look, we swear.
And whatever our complaints were about, we thought that's what some of the call was going to be. I had feelings that it was going to be more than just that.
I had hope.
So we'll get into the details and you'll figure out real quick.
The one disclaimer I'll say right away is that in dealing with Thousand Trails customer service over the phone and dealing with all the employees in the park, they are wonderful. I would never ever say anything bad about any of those people. They work so hard. For today's video, we're going to show you what they showed us. We're going to give you a little bit of the online presentation, not a lot of it, because I think they meant it to be an hour and we were 2 hours with them on the phone because that's who we are.
We were trying to share our pros and cons, and I don't know if they were so receptive to those. and
the message we want you to take away is to not only understand Thousand Trails sales anyway and how does it work, but to make sure that you always think about what really works best for you. Don't let anyone push you into anything that you're not ready for, and only do what really works for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, we've planned this. Everybody knows that watches our videos. We've been planning this for 5-6 years. We knew all about Thousand Trails. Barb even worked in one of the parks at our community, so we knew about the parks. We knew that there were some problems with rundown and all that stuff, but that we were looking beyond that. Like we've always said, we were going to the parks just to enjoy the parks and the areas, not so much to worry about the campgrounds themselves.
And then why did I do that? I did that because I retired a little bit early and I wanted to see what is the Thousand Trails really like. Is it going to be worth us spending the money to get into the park and do it? And I decided, yeah, it is. And it is a tough job. I got to tell you, it's really a tough job working in a park. So let's start out with how everything began on the presentation and the call. Thousand Trails contacted us because they've been in business for 50 years and they're supposedly calling members to share with them, make sure you understand your benefits, what's supposed to be happening, and probably, I would think, to try to sell you something, but also to listen to what we like and don't like about Thousand Trails.
Most conference calls that I've worked on don't start until
Conference is being recorded. Your conference is being recorded. Conference is being recorded.
Okay, thank you.
What y'all doing today? Tell you a little bit about the meeting, what we're going to be covering.
I mean, they pretty much said that you guys were in business 50 years, and you would probably be talking about that coming up with Thousand Trails, what's going on. You wanted to hear the pros and cons of what we like and don't like, our experiences, and go over our membership in detail to make sure we understand it, is what we were told.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's really a 3-part meeting, and yeah, you got most of it right there. The first part of it really is, getting into your membership, make sure you do understand everything about it, or, if you do have questions or concerns, let me know. That's what we're here to do to help you.
So basically how the call started out is they were late coming in, which I don't like to wait. Our time is just as important as anybody else's time. And then they played dumb with us. They're like, so how did you become a Thousand Trails member? When did you join? I'm thinking you're a Thousand Trails. You should know, right?
Yeah, as all you know, we bought a resale from Membership Outlet down in Florida from Kimberly, and she was awesome. Yeah. And that's how we joined Thousand Trails.
Kimberly.
Only because when we researched Thousand Trails early on, it was like 5,000-6,000. Then by the time we went to buy, it was like 13,000 or 14,000. So we just thought that was a little ridiculous. But besides that, phone call started out, cordial. Once we got past all the hoopla starting out the call,
being our best friend.
Yeah, which was fine. We introduced ourselves. He introduced himself. We talked about our camping experience. Like I said, part of the call was them to review our benefits, which they did, and we knew all about the benefits because we reviewed them when we bought them from Kimberly down there in Florida. So we already knew our benefits, and
But they didn't know we had.
They didn't know we had RPI, and they didn't know we had Encore. Yep. Which was kind of strange. And the guy would get off the phone and have to go back and check things. You would think if they were calling us to review our benefits that they would know exactly what we had. Yep. Without break the call, put us on hold, and go back.
Yeah, he wasn't prepared. And I mean, I honestly believe that he was not prepared, which is, once again, wasting our time. Yeah. So now let's get into where they kind of talk that it's a 3-item thing for the call.
There has been some big changes with the company, too, that they want me to get you caught up on and let you know where we're headed in the future and kind of what their plans are. And the third part of it, just because of all the changes that's occurred, they do have another option as far as membership's concerned, too, that they want to talk about. Here's a couple of big things that's happening, guys. You aware that Thousand Trails has actually been bought out by a bigger company called Equity Lifestyle Property. ELS actually owns RPI, too. They just bought them out recently.
That was the first part of what they wanted to share with us, is that Thousand Trails and now also Encore and RPI are owned by Equity Lifestyle Properties. And then what we learned later on in the call through the sales guy and then even eventually his manager is that they bought it 10 years ago. Now, you Thousand Trails members out there have been in the parks. There's some that are good, there's some that are okay, and there's a lot that need a lot of work. So if somebody bought a property 10 years ago, you would think they would be doing something about it.
Of course, we were concerned because Equity Life is an investment company, and what's investment companies do? They make money. So they reviewed for 10 years these parks before they decided to invest any money. Yeah. And if you've been in any of these parks, the ones that they love, they put money into them. The ones they don't, or they discard, they get very little money. They get very little help. They get very little roads. They get very little restrooms. But if they like the park, it seems to get some money thrown at it. But over the past 10 years was very little.
And we'll explain kind of how that works as we went on through the call with us here. So when we're listening here, you're going to hear coming up that he wants us to move on, because I'm trying to ask questions and he wants to get to the sales part of it. So listen to what he says here about how much they're going to be spending on the parks and the timing.
Yeah. Recently. So now they own all the Thousand Trails, all the Encore parks, all the RPI. The other thing that they're doing a lot of is a lot of updates and improvements at the parks. I mean, they're looking to put about $150 million back into just improvements over about the next 3 to 4 years.
I mean, you guys say you're spending it over the next 3 years. Are you spending it in every park?
The conference will be terminated in 5 minutes.
It better not be terminated. So obviously, I think our time was up is what happened because he was off researching the questions that we had been asking him, and then it was like, goodbye, but he did at least call us back.
Yeah, the video conference was ready to go.
So once again, Equity Lifestyle Properties is the one who bought it, and we'd mentioned earlier that it was 10 years of setting around all the property parks. The parks that they purchased were parks that were probably built, in the 50s and 60s,
the 60s,
70s maybe?
60s, 70s,
I mean, you've seen them, and the parks are I don't know, when we first joined Thousand Trails, our purpose was to have a place to park our camper, and we're going to talk about that in more detail later.
Yep.
But we ended up becoming vested in the park because of the people that work there.
Yep.
And how beautiful and sad the parks that we have been in.
Yeah, I mean, you walk around them and you just see, you
Yeah.
know, they're just slowly falling apart because they're not got the maintenance. They don't have the staff to keep them up.
Yep.
And we're just not sure which parks they're spending money on and which ones they aren't, because no one shares that information with you.
So it sounds exciting. They're spending $150 million
over 3 to 8 years.
Yeah, and he said 3 years. I mean, you heard that in the call, but later on the manager got on the phone and he said it would be over 8 years and it would be $100 million.
Well, we tried to ask him, is this for TT, which
Yeah.
is Thousand Trails? Is this for Encore?
Yeah.
Is this for RPI?
What does it mean?
And he told us that it was for TT, which we know that the investment group owns all three.
Yep.
So he said TT was going to get the
money.
the 150 million, which we know there's 86 parks currently right now. I think there was 81 when we got our contract.
Yeah.
So we got those 81 parks. That's a lot of money being spent, but we know by looking at the parks, it's not being spent in all parks.
It's not. It's not enough
It's
money.
being concentrated in.
The parks need roads, facilities, cabins,
Yeah, things are just, I mean,
redoing the sites, 50
literally
amp
falling
sewer.
in some of the cabins and stuff. But we found out through the call that some of these properties are leased.
Yeah.
And they're not owned, or they're part of
There's two in
the Corps of
Texas that we were
Engineering.
at, yeah.
They're part of Corps of Engineering, and they're contracted not to fix these, or that's
Yeah.
what we've been told. It doesn't mean that they still can't keep up with basic services, making sure pedestals are upright and covered up. And part of the call was that they were spending a lot of money on putting 50 amp in, which most modern campers today are 50 amp. So
But they're
that's
not,
what
they're
we're
gonna be
looking
doing
for.
It everywhere, though.
Not everywhere. We have seen, I mean, I'll give them some credit. We have seen a lot of parks that are upgrading their 50 amp service, but a lot of them, I think they're upgrading parts of it that are old wiring in the ground, and then they have problems where the whole block goes down, all C goes down, all D goes down because the wiring is insufficient.
And old.
And we have seen, like I said, we have seen some parks where they're actually digging up, putting new electrical lines in the ground and trying to do Indiana for sure, Batesville, where they're actually trying to do it correct.
But they bought the parks 10 years ago. When I worked there, Indiana was a mess. It's amazing what they've done in the last year or a couple years that they could have been doing all along. So they've spent some money there. But
I mean, part of the Thousand Trails, when you get in these parks, you got lots of annuals.
Yep.
Which that we know that's why they have to make money. But we're memberships too. We're members of TT. So we've had some parks where it's hard to get a decent spot because and I know the managers, they're trying to make money for themselves, or they're making money for, equity group. We have to have decent sites too. You can't just all give them all the way to permanence. You go into a spot where they build a new add-on, next thing you know, 80% of it's perms, which is fine, but you got to give us as being members that are transient, that are moving every 2 to 3 weeks. We got to be able to have spots to be able to park our RVs too.
This is the plan that you buy into. The plan that you buy into allows you to go, we're just talking about Thousand Trails, nothing else. It lets you go and stay with our plan 3 weeks at a park. There is no cost to us because we bought a lifetime membership and we paid for it, so it's not like we didn't really pay for it and it was free or anything.
Right.
And we can book 180 days ahead of time, which does help us out. But we have found we're able to book, but then on a lot of parks when we get in, we have a big rig and we always call the campground and say, this is the size of our rig. Your site says we can fit. Can we fit? Yes. Do you have 50 amp? Yes. Will we be? Yes, you'll be fine. And then when we get there, we maybe don't have 50 amp, we might have 30, or we might not have sewer, or we've been in some pretty tight situations where we've had to do a lot of cleanup of the site and everything. I mean, the message that they're giving us, which you're going to hear coming up, is that the permanents or the annuals, they're the ones who pay a lot of money a yearly to have a site, a specific site at a place that stays there. And each park is almost incentivized that if they want to get money from Thousand Trails, they need to sell the permanent sites. The permanent sites makes them, and it makes a lot of money for Thousand Trails, which then in turn makes money for them. So we'll go to parks like the one we saw in Indiana, where they did do all these improvements. They did fix the road, they put in a new pool, which was amazing, and then they had this whole new area, which was the nicest area we had ever been in. But how many, it was what? How many sites do you think there was?
50% probably.
Already sold.
Yeah,
So when we go back, it's not going to be available.
that was part of our complaint on the call, was why can't we register for a site? But then we found out that the reason why we can't register for a site is because they're all for sale.
Yeah.
Every site is for sale, so they can't register you an A38 knowing that A38 could be sold tomorrow.
Yeah. I mean,
You know?
two other examples that we'll give you real quick before we continue on with the presentation is two different ones in Texas. And Watts on Wheels, if you're out there, you know exactly what we're talking about because you went to this one park as well. It was a Corps of Engineers park. So what we learned is that they said they have a lease agreement then with the park. So they name it 1,000 Trails, and when you're at the park, you go so far and it says Corps of Engineers, means they're taking care of the lake.
Yeah.
But 1,000 Trails is not spending any money on this park at all. They're not helping them. They're not providing them with anything.
And it's very evident.
And the 50 amp is, there's very little at 50 amp. Most of 30 amp is dangerous if you plug into it. And they said, well, it's not our fault. It's not our issue. It's a state of Texas issue because it's a Corps of Engineer thing.
And we asked them, why can't you close that park?
Well, then close the park. You know?
Because they've already got annuals paying big money.
Yeah,
so
they
those
do.
will be
They have
parks.
annuals there.
Those will be parks that are
Why?
on our
I don't
list.
know.
Those are parks that are going to be on our list that will never be visited by us again.
And
for sure.
And this park in particular, it's so sad because a lot of the trees must have been hit by something, so they're dead. So they've got them tagged, cut down, but no money to cut them down. And it feels like a state park, like we're actually in a state park right now. But it feels like, I mean, I can see what it used to look like and how beautiful it was. And that's what hurts me, is that you're just letting everything die or slide off the hill, or, you know, it's just a big mess. And then the other park in Texas that we went to, extremely nice. It's extremely busy, and they're getting money all the time. So we came in, we got into a section that was new, that had some perms in it, but not too many yet. But they didn't even, like, they rushed maybe to get that done, so they didn't do the layout right. So the camper scratches on almost everything when you go up into it. We were lucky that ours did not do that. But they have all these cottages they build because they're on this big lake, and the cottages are $108,000. You know, so every time they sell one of those, you know, they make money for 1,000 Trails, which gets them more money. And then we saw that they were building something new above us, you know, so we went and talked to the manager and thought, oh my God, are you going to put some more sites in? This is incredible. And they're like, oh no, it's for cottages to be sold. And then the park in the center, you know, it's like you have what probably was the original center of 1,000 Trails.
The gravel section
is run down and messy, and, and water all runs in there.
It's a park. It's nothing great. The roads are gravel. They're potholed, you know, but you know, we've been in some parks where they drag the gravel, you know, weekly.
They do what they
try
can
to keep the potholes at bay. You know, if it's an all gravel lot, then you're going to expect it. But if it's an asphalt, you expect it to be asphalt, not to get potholes that are so big it'll swallow up a RV tire. You know, so.
I mean, the last place I'll mention is one that we went to in Tennessee, where she only had sold 6 spots, and that's because she said, I ain't got nothing but sunshine. And that's sad because that park is gorgeous. 300 and some sites, half of them are falling off the cliff because she has no money to repair anything. She doesn't really have any staff, and it's sad.
We don't even know if that park is even if that's
might be a leased park or something.
Which is not going to, because even the playground. I mean, if you want to attract families, you got to have playgrounds, and the playgrounds were so outdated that no kids are going to play on them.
I mean, they're the old solid ones. They're not going to fall apart, that's for sure. But they're rusty and dangerous.
You have to get a tetanus shot after you play on the equipment.
So I know we're getting off track here, so I'm sorry. So they talk about that the perms and the annuals, you know, that's where they make a lot of their money. And then when they make a lot of their, distracted by things happening around us, when they make money from them, then those people actually have a say about what areas are going to be perms, how many transients are going to be allowed in the park. I mean, and that's hard for us because we're the transients.
Right.
And then he did try to do the old scare tactic. Well, you know, with all these improvements, we're going to have to be paying for them somehow, so dues are going to go up.
And we found out that we pay $550 a year for our membership renewal every year. And he said it could go up 10%. But then we researched it in their bylaws. It can only go up to the cost of living the
consumer price index. So he said 10% at the most. And Bob did a bunch of calculations here, which we can talk about. But even if it did go up, it would never go up to where they were trying to take us.
It ain't going to go up enough to where it's going to afford us to buy that plan.
So let's listen now, where I'm asking him about the dollars they're going to be spending, which is like some of the stuff we've just already discussed.
All right, I think we're back. We're good now. Some of that I was trying to get a hold of somebody. horribly busy today. They're all tied up. I'll just try to get through this. I've got everything jotted down. That way I can get through the rest of the meeting here for you too.
Right, they're going to spend $150 billion over 3 years. You don't know if that's per park or if that's for all of the parks.
No, that's total over the next few years. But it's not allotted to $1 million a park either. It really depends on what the park needs. So it could be. There's no true answer to that. The reason I say that, they just put $11 million into a park in Orlando. So yeah, some parks they might only put a little bit in, depending on what they need. It all depends on what that particular park needs to have done, is how much they're going to be doing. But they're allotting a lot of money to do it.
Okay.
Which, the only downside to that makes dues go up, of course, because that's how everything gets paid. And same thing with those permanent sites. That's where they make a lot of money to be able to do what they're doing in these parks. So that kind of answers that question for you.
Now here comes the part that I knew was coming. The sales pitch. We didn't figure this was all going to be about 50-year anniversary and how we felt about Thousand Trails, our pros and cons. It was all about this part right here, the sales pitch.
When you guys give them money, they don't repair the stuff, and then the money they're getting, they're spending on, because even in Batesville, the guy there told us they're doing 150 more sites, and those are going to be all to sell. So when you're out here, we're like, where are we supposed to stay and go if they're selling everything?
Yeah, there's a little bit of everything. That's just kind of the nature of the beast there, but I wish I could tell you different on that. It brings a lot of revenue. People paying a lot of money for those things. It's amazing what people pay. But they're also staying in one location, too, so it's a lot different thing.
Like we said, we bought a membership that was a used membership.
Yeah.
Basically, what they're wanting to do was give us the 2 new plans that were going to be available for us, and that we had first right over refusal of those plans. We had 90 days to decide whether we wanted to invest in those plans or not.
But the plan they wanted to offer us was Elite Connections 5. Now, make a note, we are already Elite Connections member. So this is Elite Connections 5.
Yep.
So the plan that they want us to buy into is $8,995 plus the $150 fee. And then the total would be $9,145. So then they wanted to offer us something called an equity credit. The fact that we're already members, we've already spent some money, we're here for you.
They don't know exactly how much we spent. They don't, and we didn't know what our equity credit was.
We didn't go through them.
But we didn't go through them, and part of that would really piss me off is because when we bought our membership, we were pretty much told that Bob and Barb, their membership is not going to be scrutinized because we didn't buy from them. But I knew at some point there's a little asterisk in the system that says membership was purchased outside of TT. And it has to be, which was fine. We saved, $10,000. So, and got exactly the same membership. Maybe some things drop off. Maybe some things the prices go up yearly. But it's not enough to make $10,000 for us. No, and then
then they offered this equity credit. So the equity credit they wanted to give us was going to take it from $91.45 down to $44.95.
And that's $1,000. That's not. That's
$4,495.
Yeah, that's.
Remember, we just bought it back in June of last year of 2020.
Yeah.
So, let me flip. Sorry, I've got notes here in case you wonder why we're flipping around.
We're trying to make it as. We're trying to go off our notes so we don't misspeak or anything like that.
So I will bring up in just a moment the benefits screen, and then we'll kind of be going back and forth talking about things.
Yeah, our membership, we actually bought up a membership. We paid, when they offered us the membership through the outlet, we actually bought the third one because it had the most benefits for us.
Yeah.
It cost us another $1,000 or $800 more, but it had the benefits that we wanted.
We'll talk a little bit toward the end about what we spent on it, and then what the plans actually also cost today as we go.
Yeah.
So the Elite Connection 5, we're going to go through what their benefits are. I'm going to show them on the screen, and we're going to talk about what they're offering versus what we already have.
Yep.
So under Elite Connections 5, you can access the system, which we already can. The National Resort Access, these are all the same parks that we have access to now. 21 days. You can stay in a park. We already have that. We can go from, and this is only Thousand Trails, we can go from park to park to park. We already have it. Extended stays 2 times per year at $29, which means that when we were in Country Sunshine in Texas, The weather was bad. We had stayed our 3 weeks. We had already paid ahead in the system $29 to stay an extra week. We already have this benefit.
Which is a great benefit. It really is.
Yeah, it is. We're not complaining about that. And then we can, for 1,000 Trails, we can make reservations 180 days ahead of the reservation date, which is very useful and helpful.
Yeah, a lot of them 120 days, and we got we paid extra for our membership to get the 180 days because we're planners. We like to know where we're going out to.
I can't stand the fear of showing up and not knowing where I'm going to put our big giant rig over here.
And we know life. We know that sometimes life gets in the way, so things change. But we like to at least know that 6 months down the road we got a date, whether it's a state park or it's a TT or.
We're trying to be a little bit more free, but not quite there yet.
Yeah.
So there's a rental discount for the cabins, for the standard cabins that most of them we see we would not want to stay in. You can get 50% off for 5 nights.
Yep.
And then there's a cabin group called the Getaway Rentals, which we thought was cute. Oh, it's the Getaway couple. They named them after them. It's what they should have. But Getaway Rentals at $60 a night. And then if we wanted to buy into the property, we can get a discounted 10% off, which we're not interested in.
Yeah.
So we would be offered RPI, which we already have RPI, and RPI is a service that you pay for. It's an additional, it's like 1,000 Trails, it's an encore. So it's something that you pay for. We already have that. We pay about $169 a year for that.
Yeah, we knew. I mean, I just want to do a little sidebar, because when we got our membership and when we got to the point where we got to talking to 1,000 Trails, we were trying to buy our RPI membership because we thought, well, we'll be able to use that. It's a bunch of parks.
Yep.
And you have to pay $10 a night or $20 a night or whatever it is.
Some are free or 50% off.
1,000 Trails act like we didn't know who we were talking about. They were like some outside entity, knowing that this equity group owned this company for 10 years. And they don't even communicate to each other.
I forgot. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, it just popped in my little brain right now. But
if we upgraded to this plan that they're offering, the Elite Connections 5, we would get RPI free for 2 additional years.
Yeah.
So that
which
would
our
save us.
Our RPI only costs us $169 a year.
Yeah, they said it would be a value of $399, so that's actually more than what the savings.
Yeah, they were saying it was $199 a year.
Yeah, it's not. Okay, so we already have access to worldwide with RPI. Well, I'm not going to go into RPI because it's not important. We already have it. We pay for it, and the savings that they say that would give us would cost more than if we actually just paid for it. So the Trails collection, we do pay for that, and that is the Encore parks, and that just gives us an additional extra parks in the system.
Yeah, it's like 110, 115 parks or something like that.
And we pay for that. That is $199 a year, but it gives us all kinds of parks all around the outer edge of the United States, which is kind of nice. Just gives you more options, and you get to stay at the majority of them for free, just like their 1,000 Trails. We pay for that, and they would give us 1 year of that free which is $199 value.
Yeah.
So then there's resort connections. So we already have this luxurious vacations. So we get vacation credits. We get which we already. I don't know if we have vacation credits or not.
I don't know if we get the vacation credits, which we don't care.
We don't care.
That's not what we bought this plan for.
Yeah.
We didn't buy it to.
It'd be interesting to know.
See how many people we can hand out a week's worth of vacation.
Yeah, it'd be interesting
to know. We
bought
it for ourselves.
How many members out there
actually
use the vacation stuff or use the cottages and all that kind of stuff.
And maybe to some people, those vacation credits, those condos, those getaway cabins,
and that's,
maybe it works out great for you, which is fine. We don't need it.
Well, part of it is they say we would give you, of the getaway cottages, supposed to be the nicer cottages, we will give you 5 weeks. So 1 week a year for 5 years.
Yeah.
Right now, with the membership we bought, we have 6.
Yeah.
So we don't need that. And then there's all kinds of exchanges and other resort things, and we're not interested in that. So the one thing for sure that's different is our membership rate, our fee that we pay each year, it's $549, will continue to go up. With this plan, it would freeze at the age of 62.
Yep.
And membership fees are different
next year for me.
For everyone all across the board. They had said that, like as Bob had said earlier, the rates could go up as much as 10%. And then he was trying to scare us that the rates were going to be, so phenomenal that if we don't buy this plan, we're going to be silly because we didn't, we lost all that money by paying all the rates.
Well, I just did, quick math. 10% on our 550 is $55. So the next year it's going to be $60.
Right.
So I mean, the most it could go up is $56. And I mean, if you go over 10 years, yeah, you might be paying $1,200. But then we found out, like we said earlier in the bylaws, consumer price index, you know, maybe 2 or 3%. Yep. It's not going to go up more than that.
I mean, we're different from your average people. I mean, you can't pull the wool over our eyes. We're definitely willing to listen and be open and stuff, but we're not going to fall. You know, we need to understand, we need to research, we need to see.
Well, the one thing that comes with age is normally wisdom, and we're not going to let someone just snowball us, you know. So
it wouldn't be funny if somebody hit us with a snowball right now.
Yep.
Okay, so something that we don't have that would come with this new plan is they offer a family membership option, which will give us 8 courtesy cards, and we can hand them out. You're my family, you're my friends, I love you, here's 8 cards.
Now you have to pay.
Then they have to pay $125 to be able to use the park for the year exactly how we would use it. So now you have perms and annuals taking up spaces.
And your family members are competing against you.
Now your family members are taking up spaces, so there's no place for you
for
when we get to that part.
$125. So like we said, if that's an option, that works for you.
Sorry, stuff's blowing.
If that's an option that works for you, that's a great option, you know, for the $125 for each family member. So if you got 8 kids, this might be a pretty good deal, you know.
Papers are flying everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, so if you, like I said, if you got 8 kids and you can hand out 8 cards and they each pay $125, they may take your camping spot.
Yeah. So just to review, you know, we are Elite Connections. This is Elite Connections 5. They want us to pay. Well, they want us to pay.
The original was $44.95.
That was with the discount from 91 something. And the only benefits that we would get out of it is that we would get RPI free for 2 years. We would get Trails In free for 1 year. Our dues would be frozen.
Yep.
And then we would have those cards that we can give out. And that's really the only things I see that are different.
And if you're a really good subscriber, we may give you a card.
No, we won't, because we won't have them. So the next thing we're going to talk about real quick is the adventure package, because I know the adventure package has been out there on the screen, and I bring up that slide now. So the adventure package is different. So when we first contacted Thousand Trails, when this came out, because we were interested in one.
When we heard about the adventure packet, we thought, man, this is a great deal. You know, we thought this is going to have some benefits for us
on the Encore side.
And we had saw a couple small videos on it, people describing the adventure package. Then after we went into the nuts and bolts of it, we're like, well, maybe this isn't for us. I mean, so this guy tried to explain to us why it was good for us.
Yeah.
And which we still, the nuts and bolts for us. I'm saying people out there that have bought them, good deal for you. But for us,
there's nothing wrong with it.
It doesn't work for us.
I mean, if you have a zone pass and you want to move up, these are great options that you can move into. So we're not saying that it's not an option, but if you're an existing member that already has some type of thing, really look at what they're offering you before you know.
What was the total cost of the?
This is what.
No, I mean, if you were a zone pass person and you were wanting to buy, how much was it?
The adventure plan. Well, let me first say that when we called them when they first came out, they said it was $16,000 to upgrade from a zone pass, I guess, to that. Yep. And then they said for us, it would only be, because we were members, I guess because of equity credit, it would only be $8,800. Yep. And we were like, no.
I mean, we have everybody we have talked to have given us a different price. So I mean, we've seen 10,000, 8,000, but it all has to do with
the guy today.
It all has to do with your equity credits and what equity credits are going to give you.
And that's kind of that's
part of the used car salesman of it. You know, that we got the salesman, and then we got the manager behind the door. Yeah. You know, we can't make this sale, so we're going to call the manager in.
So it's. The adventure plan today is $25,000.
That's what we were told. If you were just coming off the street.
So maybe if you want to get that, that's fine. You know, and you've never had it before. But
the other thing is they told us that they don't sell to the street anymore. Yeah.
But they were telling us with our equity credit now, it would be. So when we look at this, I'm just going to kind of go through this because it's the same type of resort benefits. except that instead of staying 2 times, well, we would get 86 parks instead of 81, I guess, with either plan. But we could stay, instead of 2 weeks extra a year, we could do 4 at $29.
Yeah.
And then we could stay 2 weeks in one of the high usage areas and pay $99 for that. It's got the same thing with everything else. No change to RPI. It's still, you pay for it. The Trails Collection, which is very weird in here, because when Adventure originally came out, this was the enhanced benefit. You know, instead of paying $199 a year, you were going to pay $650 a year, and they were going to improve the benefits, which we're not going to really discuss here. But now on here, they offer the Trails Collection Plus, where you would pay $650 a year, nothing free, or you could still get the $199 a year, which is the lesser benefit. So why would I pay $10,200 to have the same damn thing I have now?
And what do you get? The Encore Plus is, there's some benefits in there. So when you want to register for a Encore, you get 60 days.
It's currently 60 days. This would give you 90.
This would give you 90 days. And you can go from park to park.
Encore, you can stay 14 days, not 21, and you had to be out of the park for 7 days.
Yep. So here you can go from park to park.
And that's really it.
In Florida, Texas, Arizona, you can kind of bounce around those. So you have to evaluate whether, if you got TTs that you can go from 1,000 Trails to Encore to 1,000 Trails to Encore in those areas, if it's worth the additional $650. But to get the $650, you have to buy the adventure pack.
Yeah.
So you can't, if you could just buy the $650.
And it's $650 every year.
Yeah.
Every year.
If you could just pay the $650, yeah, that'd be worth it. But not to buy the adventure pack for us, because we already got all the TT benefits that we need are in our original purchase.
So I think in a couple weeks after this video comes out, we'll have a video that talks about our benefits and details and really explains 1,000 Trails, Encore, RPI, how we got it, you know, how we did it, and all that kind of stuff, because it's too much to go into for this video. So let's go ahead and listen to the last little bit of the presentation that I decided to play. There was a lot, because I spent a lot of time trying to give him our pros and our cons. Yeah. And I was getting more frustrated as he went, so I finally just started cutting all that out, because I didn't want you to have
Barb was
a 2-hour video.
Yeah, Barb was trying to insert the pros and cons while this gentleman was talking, and and at that point, I mean, he was cordial, but he was not wanting to hear it anymore. I mean, he was his objective from this meeting was to get to know us like you buying a car. Yep. Get to know us.
Yep. Rub up against us. I love you. You're so pretty.
Yep.
You'd look really pretty with this car.
This is what you got, and this is what you're going to pay for it. If you don't like it, you know, he didn't want to hear the negatives and the positives.
Well, he was like, well, what do you expect? The parks are old.
Yeah, they're old. And we've owned them for 10 years, and we haven't done a darn thing in 10 years. But now we're going to spend multi-millions on them if you buy this plan.
Yeah, and if you buy it, you get to see it and be part of it. So you'll listen to hear what I kind of have to say.
So another reason that we're contacting you guys is this. When they originally put out the Elite membership, 1,000 Trails guaranteed, this is the neat part of you taking over a membership that's already been purchased from 1,000 Trails. What they told the original owner is if any new or better benefits come about, that they would actually get first right of refusal on those new benefits. So since you've got the membership now, that's one of the reasons we're reaching out, is to give you your option. There's a couple of things to look at. What the first right of refusal means on the new program is a couple of things. And I know you got your pen and paper there, so write down a few of these for me if you don't mind. They're going to do a price lock on all the new additions for the next 90 days at any of the parks. Now, the only thing that they can't guarantee is the product will still be there. Is what they're allowing them to do is use equity credit against what they've already had if they take advantage of the new addendum now instead of later. Now, I'm not exactly sure what your equity credit is at this moment. I will find that out for you here just a little bit. But keep that kind of membership in. ELS does not sell memberships to the public. The only thing they sell is year-to-year passes.
We're just doing the zone passes from here on out, and then you're just relying on us to do the upgrades for the others.
The only people that are getting these are people that are having the status that you have.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys want to sell us something, you have to do the work first. So you guys need to do the work and make it happen. And
all right, so what you heard there is that 1,000 Trails says they are not selling to the public any more membership. I don't know if that's true or not, to be honest.
He told us $25,000, but maybe that's for upgrades.
Yep. So they are selling zone passes, and I do believe the zone passers can maybe upgrade to some of these. I can't believe they wouldn't be selling new memberships, because that's how they make money. Otherwise, they're relying on just us to upgrade, give them money, or pay lots in dues. So what I was trying to convey to him is that I don't have a problem spending money. I don't have a problem doing any of that. I need you to do the work and get it done, and then I will be more than happy to pay to upgrade. But you are not selling me something that's broken down with the wheel coming off, not the car that's in the back.
Give us some value for the purchase, you know. I'm not gonna buy a Ford Pinto, expect it to be, you know, a upgraded car, you know.
Look at my new
I guess
Tesla.
I shouldn't say
It's a Ford Pinto.
I shouldn't say Ford Pinto. 'Cause people are not gonna realize what a Ford Pinto is. And there goes a tractor by.
So after I said all that, he was like, well, let me see if I can get...
Here comes pitch number 2. Now, if you've been in a car dealership, you know if their salesman can't make the sale, what happens? He goes off, goes into the black curtain, comes back with the manager. So this is where he does. He goes off the call. I'm going to go get my manager to discuss, because he's not able to make the sale to us.
Yeah,
which
he has to understand why.
We don't spend $5,000-$10,000 over the phone without thinking about it.
We don't do it anyway.
part of that 60 years of wisdom that you're just, if you pull the trigger on everything that sells you over the phone or in person, then you've made some bad purchases in your life. You get up, you walk away, or you discuss it. He told us about the 90 days, which was probably, you know, standard for them. We thought it was odd. Well, he gets off the phone, then all of a sudden he gets another manager. His manager comes in, and the manager's telling us, "Oh, I've been listening in on the conversation."
Well, at first he comes in and says, "Hey, you know, your name. Did you try to get a hold of me?"
Yeah.
He said, "Well, let me review some notes." And then after when he starts getting a little more testier, he says, "I've been listening to the call the whole time."
Yeah.
And what's funny is that the screen stuff we were recording cut off, so I don't have any of that. I just have our notes.
Yeah, he
in our
made
memory.
small talk with us about
Yeah.
living in the Cincinnati area, Cincinnati, Ohio, which we're both from that area.
Yeah.
You know,
Wanted
which
to be
was
our
fine.
friend.
But he was trying to, you know, reel us in. You know,
Yeah.
what do they do? They reel you in. So
Yeah.
we just weren't going for it. You know, like I said, we just don't make random purchases over the phone, or especially when they start out. You know, this whole phone call started out as 50 years. You know, we've been here 50 years and all this good stuff.
That was about a second.
Yeah, so he all of a sudden he comes up with another plan that there's additional equity in one of these purchases from one of these companies that bought this company, you know, 40 years ago.
When I look at your plan,
When I
I
look
see
at your
way
plan,
back when.
Yeah, this guy put in this plan that you could get some additional credit. So he tried to come up with another $1,300 or
Yeah, it was like, instead of it costing us $44.95, now it was only going to cost us $31.45
for the Connection 5. Yeah, he come up with another $1,300.
So,
I mean, does this not feel like a car dealership? You know?
Bob, I'm telling you right now, with that savings and all of the no real benefits that we'd be getting, did we buy?
No. And we're not buying over, like we said, we're not buying over the phone anyway. We got a tractor going by.
Stop driving by. You're not doing anything.
But yeah, there was some additional equity credit that he just happened to find, you know, deep in the woods of Thousand Trails.
Yep.
From
It's pretty deep.
You know, this membership.
They might have found it in a pothole in Texas.
This membership was purchased 25 years ago, and you guys purchased it, and these are the equity credits that are coming up with age, wisdom.
Why does he keep saying that?
Get up and walk away.
I said it's a trophy wife.
And get up and walk away, and then if the deal sounds good to you the next day, jump on it.
Yeah.
If these benefits, and we're not saying they're not benefits.
Yeah.
These are great benefits. But if they don't work for you, they don't work for you. But for us, we bought this whole membership was to get out. And yes, we were looking to save money because it saves us money on camping monthly fees. Yeah, we're on fixed income out here. We bought the camp, park our 44-foot rig, and enjoy the area. Get on our Spider, ride around.
Yep.
And that's what we bought it for.
I mean, what happened though is that we fell in love with the park. The ones that we've been in: Texas, Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana. And even the ones here in Michigan, we fell in love with them. They are, the nature itself is beautiful. A lot of them have ponds and open waters. It's beautiful. And a lot of disrepair, the ones that we have been in. They need love and attention and help. And the parks could be so much more. I mean, I have a marketing background.
Just a small amount of work.
You know, you give me some money, you give me some time, I can turn these parks around. And it can't just be a park like, oh, Orlando, well, it's by Disney, so that's going to make me a lot of money, so that's the one I'm going to invest in. I mean, I'm glad they did invest in Orlando. It needed it. But when you look at that little park in Tennessee that said they have nothing but sunshine, they got all kinds of stuff there. You invest some time and money in there, and you can turn that into a really nice big park that people want to come and stay at and come back again and again, locals and tourists. I think that's what breaks our heart, is we fall in love with the staff that works so hard with so few people and doing the best that they can.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, the one thing I would like to add is if I was to come to you and say, hey, we got this plan and it's going to cost you $16,000, we're going to take you around to the 10 or 11 parks that we've been in right now. Believe me, if I'd have seen all those parks and just the way they look, I mean, we didn't pay $16,000. I
mean, we had a tire go flat in one park because the things were so...
The potholes were
so bad. And it's not like we're flying through them, but...
And so, like I said, some of them try to at least put gravel in them, but when you get rain and it pops out, but I mean,
they do what they can with what they have. It's not the parks.
Yeah, and then, like we said, some of these parks are getting some upgrades, but it's not enough.
Well, and then something to think about is, how did we get our membership, which we'll talk about in more detail later. Or I guess the question is, are we sorry that we bought it? Would we do it again? No, we're not sorry. And yes, we would buy it again. But we went through Campground
Membership Outlet
and Kimberly. We love Kimberly. She is a very decent, honest.
Right up front.
Up front. This is no nonsense, no bullshit.
We called her, told her what we wanted. She goes. She emailed us with her inventory. She called it, I think.
Yeah. What happens?
Here's the 4 inventories that I have for you that fit your criteria. So, and then we made the decision. Like I said,
no pressure. She didn't care if we bought it or not. To be honest, Campground Membership Outlet. What she does is, people who have Thousand Trails memberships, and if some of you don't know this and you're looking to sell them, they create a market of, like, these are all the people that want to sell, and these are the people that want to buy. So she has a whole inventory of people that want to sell, and then she matches them up like she did with us.
She negotiates the price with the seller, and
the fees are small that the seller pays. We didn't pay any fees at all. It's like $200 for the seller. I think she's very easy to work with. I'm going to list her contact information below. We're going to do a full video where we will talk in detail about what they offer, what Thousand Trails offers, Encore, RPI, and Membership Outlet. Because I guarantee you, down the road, they're going to have the Adventure, and they're going to have this Elite Connections 5 that you can get through them at a better price. Yep. So it's somebody who had it and doesn't need it anymore, so they're getting some money back from maybe spending all that big money in the beginning.
Yep.
And then you're getting something at a good deal, and then you can also sell it again then down the road.
We've seen, I mean, we've only been in a short part of the country, and I'm sure out west things are beautiful.
Yeah, we haven't been out west.
We're going to give a thumbs up to Thousand Trails because we bought it. The reason why we bought it was for the reason why was to save money, and that's what we did it for.
Yeah, keep moving. So we love our Thousand Trails membership. We're very happy with it. Yep. We're not happy with Thousand Trails trying to do the old,
switching
the nuts around which one has the, don't bullshit us. I mean, that's just what it is. Don't do it. Don't waste our time. Like we always say, you only have so much time to live. We want to live it and not be on the phone talking crap. So on that note, we hope that you like this video.
Yep. Give it a thumbs up. Tell us your experiences. Give us comments on your Thousand Trails experiences.
I'm sure you got the calls. Let us know.
Yeah.
And if you bought, that's fine. There's no judgment here. It's okay. It's just who we are.
Yeah. I mean, like we said in the video, for you, it may work out perfectly.
Which is fine.
Which they give us the options.
I would say our channel is always going to be no hype.
Yep.
You're only going to get honest and truthfulness from us because that's how we want to be dealt with people we deal with. Yep. So like us, thumbs up, please subscribe, please comment, and remember, we're HetteshWorld.
Come travel in our world.
Bye.